Well, welcome to the morning drive and another little video for the Suicide and Spirituality Project. And this one is prompted by the actions of a young fellow who was only 25 years old who this week took his life, and not mentioning any names of course, but was much loved in the community. And all the posts on Facebook, etc., about this person have again, prompted me to continue in, I guess, my efforts to present a new way in which to see ourselves, and a new way in which to perceive our purpose in life. Because one of the things that I find all the time in these situations is that usually a person will question the meaning of their life and the purpose of their life before they make such a rash decision, which is just a revolving door, by the way. From a spiritual perspective, you're reborn into the world again and again until you have chosen of your own free will to complete the learning cycle that you're here for. So in a certain sense, in that regard, nobody really dies. We are spirit, we are eternal, and life goes on. But it is a disastrous waste of potential in that regard to cut your life short simply because you do not understand your place in the universe and cannot find the meaning of life for yourself in regards to how you are happy and how you find peace and all those sorts of things. So the spiritual path is one where you have a process, and a process of application of principles where you can find peace. Right? It's a process of letting go of fear, a process of letting go of doubt, of living your life in faith and all those sorts of things. But obviously when you're very young, you're not so much interested in these things. You're more interested in raising a family and achieving goals associated with what you would consider to be the beginning of your adult life, let's say. But it pops up time and time again. And I don't think there's anybody really that I've ever spoken to that doesn't at some point question what is the meaning of their life. Why are they here? What's it all about? And if you were to go back to ancient Greek times, to the times of the early philosophers, Plato and Socrates, you would find that philosophy, right, and spiritual conjecture is something that was commonplace. People would be out in the streets debating the meaning of life and man's purpose and the nature of consciousness and all of these things. And nowadays, of course, if you were to go out in the street and try to debate that sort of thing with people, you would find that the majority of people would look at you kind of weird and wondered what you were on about. But not knowing your purpose in life, not knowing the true reason why you're here, what you're here to do, is something that stirs a great unknown anxiety in almost everybody, right? And we become very good at not addressing that anxiety, the source of that anxiety, not looking at the cause of our inner angst, our inner emptiness, and we fill up that inner emptiness with things like relationships and jobs and temporal goals, things on the physical plane that we can achieve, like new cars and houses and companies and things like that. So, which is why one of the things I really love in the Bible, I'm not a Bible person, but I've read it several times, but I couldn't really quote you chapter and verse on anything, but where Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and then all else will come unto you. Right? To seek that kingdom of heaven, which is within you, is to seek your true meaning. The kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God, is love, and you are God's love. You are the extension of that as spirit. You're not a body doomed to die. You're on a journey of the soul, a spirit experiencing and traveling, let's say, through the dimensions, and here we are in the third dimension, experiencing separation from self, separation from source, which of course is going to stir great anxiety, right? And learning then through spiritual determination to see your life as part of a greater purpose, as part of a bigger journey, a bigger happening, is something that will give you pause to reflect on the nature of things when the shit hits the fan and it all seems too much and you feel like you just want to kill your body or destroy your avatar. Right? There's no point in destroying this. You'll just be back again to do it again. Right? But I don't want to get into reincarnation, because in a certain sense it has no more reality than anything else. But perceiving reality as your purpose, perceiving the acquisition of the memory or the knowledge of reality, perceiving that as your purpose for your life's goal, and perceiving that as something that serves the greater good. You know, I often hear people say when I have my little groups on Mondays and whatever, and it's been said many times, well, what is the greater good? What are we all serving? What is it that we're trying to achieve as a people, as a race, as a conscious being? You know, well, that's a big story, but to get a little bit biblical with it again, you know, you would have to look at the resurrection, right, as a story or an idea of a purpose for man, as a healing, let's say, or a collapsing of the necessity for minds to participate in the third dimension again and again and again and again. Right? There's a sign, one of my teachers used to say, there's a sign at the entry to the third dimension. Now, dimension closed for repairs. Right? It's not that it's really being closed for repairs, it's closed. The Alpha and the Omega have been brought together, and you're not going to understand that unless you have some spiritual bearing, and that's why I don't really want to get into it too much. But there is a greater purpose at work here, right, which is to serve the greater good and to participate in a path of healing that not only collapses the time that it takes for you to learn the lessons that are going to be presented to you in your life through forgiveness and tolerance and patience and everything, but also to begin to affect the nature of those around you, to help them also in their lives, to make their lives easier and help them find peace through forgiveness, and thus coming together in that collaborative venture wherein you realize that healing and happiness and peace are your common goal, your common denominator in any relationship, in any given situation, and everything else doesn't matter. All right, now that's going to take some getting used to, that's going to take some mind training, that's going to take whatever it takes. But unless you start somewhere, unless you make the very humble beginnings and very humble efforts to begin to take a really good look at the purpose of your life, right? I don't want my purpose to be separation anymore. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of arguing and defending myself. I'm tired of all of this stuff. I want my purpose to be oneness. I want my purpose to be an integration of the principles of a true spiritual path that allows me to make shifts in my thinking, shifts in my decision making, that will bring to me a new result. Whoop, let me get up in here, get around this slow boat. So, you know, don't commit suicide, don't go out there and jump off a bridge or put a rope around your neck or anything. I've done that, it didn't work, and I began the great questioning of my life because of it, and which has brought me to where I'm at today, where I can tell you in all honesty, in the honesty of my heart, that God is a fact, that we are part of a whole, and that we are being rescued from this dimension. Right? Think of the resurrection as a rescue. Think of us as being shipwrecked here again and again, caught in this loop of energy that remanifests itself again and again and again, but has been discovered now by higher minds, and we've been given the technology of this radical forgiveness as brought forth by Jesus, who says, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do," right? So that we can change the nature of our lives and change the nature of the lives of others and shorten the time for our karmic journey in the third dimension, and get on with the journey of our soul into better planes, better dimensions where things are a lot easier and life is more synonymous with the ideas of unity and unconditional love. All right, well, that's a bit of a mouthful, so You may want to watch that again, or maybe you're just scratching your head going, what the hell did he say? But it doesn't matter. Whatever you hear, you hear. Whatever you heard, you were meant to hear. And let it find a place in your heart and in your mind, and just see how you go. All right, peace.